The Muskegon Lakeshore Chamber of Commerce released the results of the feasibility study for municipal shared services, or also referred to as the Community Service Improvement Plan. This began about a year ago. This study's results and recommendations will be used to help local governments find new ways to lower operating costs, save taxpayers money, and provide better services for area residents and for businesses. The results yielded 19 primary recommendations for fire and emergency services, police services, public works, inspection services, central services, and water production. The study also provides statistical data to help residents understand where and how their tax dollars are being spent. Municipal Consulting Services was retained by the Chamber to conduct the study on behalf of the community. The study was funded by local businesses and corporate leaders as well as participating municipalities. The need for the study was in response to the reduction of operating costs, operating revenues for local governments due to declining property values and decreased revenue sharing. The local governments that participated in the study do plan to hold a number of town hall meetings so that area residents can get involved in the decision-making processes that lie ahead. We're very pleased with the outcome of the feasibility study. To our knowledge, there has not been a study of the area that has been executed to this caliber, and we hope it's not only going to benefit our community, but we will share the results with other communities so they can use the process as a guide in making future decision making. That is basically it. This study is about 100 pages, and so it's very hard to summarize 100 pages in just a few words or less. There are a lot of aspects of this study that are important to different stakeholders. They don't carry equal weight with everyone. So that's why it's important that we get the study into the hands of the community so that they can in turn review and put their input into the results of the study. But we have targeted 19 different areas where there is work to be done. There's probably a lot more work to be done as we get into this to a deeper level. So for the rest of this session, what we would like to do is have each of the mayors comment, and the Fruitport Township Supervisor Brian, on maybe their perspective and maybe just talk a little bit about what's important to them in this study. And I just also, again, have to say on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, and there were about 16 different funders from the private sector, and on behalf of those stakeholders, how appreciative we are of how cooperative our governments are in this attempt to work together. Not every time is a success, but the fact that they're trying to work together is great for our community, it's great for the taxpayers, and it's a great way to help our community attract residents and to attract investment. And that's what this is all about. We're trying to make Muskegon stronger and try to make this a place of prosperity for all. So, on that note, I will start with Mayor Warmington from the City of Muskegon, and actually if you could just go down the row and then identify yourselves as well, because the media likes that when you say your name and who you are, and so then they have a good record of it. So, Steve?
Thank you, Cindy. Steve Warmington, Mayor of the City of Muskegon, and I'll speak on behalf of all of those of us from the government side, is that we want to thank the business leaders of this community for stepping up and participating in the study, and not only participating in the study, but participating in the cost of the study to the tune of probably a little over 75% of the cost. So on behalf of the citizens of Muskegon County, thank you for your participation in this. I'm very excited by the report. It's something that certainly I've been a proponent of for a period of time. I see it as a roadmap for the future of this county, for the future of all of our local governments. It certainly steps up and shows 19 areas that we can begin to work on now in making strides as far as cooperation of services. And again, we'll all say that we need to pat ourselves on the back as county government for what we've participated and been successful in the past as far as cooperation. I think even the difficult ones that are there that comes out of the study are items that further down the road we'll be able to take a look at And I say that in regards to based on where we're going to be with state funding, and I think certainly where we're going to be with federal funding. It'll be the trickle-down effect is how tax dollars get back to local governments. And with what's going on in Washington, and we're certainly not quite certain how that's going to end up, but certainly there's going to be some cuts in dollars. And traditionally the federal government, I believe, will begin to take care of the social departments and not work their way back down to the local government. I see grants is going away that many of us in municipalities have been able to use to buy equipment, make improvements to our publicly owned properties. So I think it's great that our community is set forth on this roadmap to begin to do it. I think we're ahead of everyone else. Certainly the governor has called for this type of work. And those of us that sit up here as the elected officials that participated in this, and I do want to apologize for the mayor of Whitehall and Montague for not being here, but they're having a press conference up in regards to White Lake today, so at pretty much the same time. So that would be the reason why the two other municipality participants are not here. I look forward to working with all of these folks that are elected officials and the other elected officials of the community as we strive to go forward. And I call on the business community and the residents of this county to begin to step forward and show how important it is to you as taxpayers that your local governments begin to find ways to reduce the amount of tax dollars that are going to be spent in our communities. Thank you. Gary?
Gary Nealon, Mayor of the City of North Shores. Obviously, Steve got to go first, so he stole all the thunder. But did a great job. This study it hits home on so many levels. It proves, I think, I had an anticipation that maybe this would reveal some low-hanging fruit, some easy things that we could do going forward. What the study has shown is that we already work together as a community, as local units of government. We're doing a great job of that. So I think the real heavy lifting begins now, because these 19 areas that are in there, some may be a tad easier than others, but for the most part it's really hard work that's going to go forward. And to echo what Steve said, this is really a grassroots thing. We're going to need to take this now and sell it to our residents and sell it to the businesses that are in our communities and show them what's in it for them. And the whole goal of this going forward is not to pick winners and losers, but is to find all the win-wins that are out there. And win-wins were, showing how we work together. I think we've bonded as a group even more so. We're going to continue, to have these meetings and to work through this. It's not going to end up on a shelf and gather dust somewhere. With the business community, showing the private sector and the public sector working together to come together, for one common cause. And I just think it's been also a win-win for the elected officials, at least, and to work with our staffs to really get a feeling of this is what the staff thinks, this is what the electeds think, and to come together on that as well. So the managers, did most of the work. City administrators and department heads and everything did most of the work, the data gathering, and we have to thank them for all the hard work that they put into this as well. So this is our roadmap. This is when the hard work begins. And I think, there's nothing else like this going on in the state, we've been told. And as Steve said, as financing is changing in Lansing, we can point to this and say there's no other, on this scale, there's no other study like this that's been done in the state of Michigan. So we're ahead of the curve, and hopefully that will allow us to, in this new competitive environment, win the race before some other communities do. So it's I just want to thank everybody for their help, everybody who's participated financially, anybody who's participated by spending a lot of hours doing it, and Mark Notley, who's not here, the consultant, I think needs to be thanked, because he had the job of herding a bunch of cats, us elected officials, and he did a pretty good job. So with that, I'll turn it over to Brian.
Brian Worsham, Supervisor of Fruitport Charter Township. You think it's bad going after Steve? How about after the two of you guys? Now I'm third. First and foremost, I also want to thank the Chamber and Mark Notley for putting this study together. And we've worked very hard through a very difficult couple of years, and we believed that we had been working on a roadmap to the future. And what this study, from my perspective, has done is shown that we have been on the right path, that we need to work together, that we've been doing a lot of the efficient things that is expected. I think this study has not only reemphasized the directions that we need to go and that we're going in the right direction, but I'm going to, like Mayor Nealon had said, I think it has brought these municipalities together on a closer basis. Starting next week, it is not going to go on a shelf. We are going to take this study and we are going to begin to work very hard on the other efficiencies. The study shows that the low-hanging fruit has been used up. We're doing a lot correctly. There's always more to do. And now, without having to do it independently as individual municipalities, and with the Chamber's support, putting the study together, and now we really have true comparisons and true numbers to work from, and I believe a roadmap to the future. We've got a good group of elected officials that are going to take this information. We're going to work very hard to implement some of these changes to the benefit of the business and the residents of this community. So, thank you.
My name is Rob Buchman. I'm mayor of Roosevelt Park, and I want to thank the Chamber also for all their hard work and bringing this all together so we could come up with a plan for the future. And what I would say about this report, this is the easy part right here. Okay, it's been mentioned. Now the work begins, and we got a good group of guys. There's 7 of us. 2 of them can't be here this morning. And what we're doing in this, like Brian already mentioned, next week Tuesday, the mayors now get together. It'll start in Roosevelt Park next Tuesday at 9 o'clock, and we begin to implement what's been put here. And will that be easy? It will not be easy. Will there be some give and take? Absolutely. And we've already worked with the city of Muskegon in the past. We've worked with Norton Shores. We've already called Chris over some ideas that we met with a week ago to see if we can save some more money. And that's what we're here to do. And I guess what I would say for Muskegon County is, look, it is our desire to be the leaders of the state, not the followers. And so that's what we're going to try to do.
Chris Witham, Mayor of North Muskegon. My approach has been a little bit different in how I've participated in this. Our goal has always been to be the best in North Muskegon as far as providing services to our community. Cost is important, obviously, but what this report really did for me is benchmark, which a lot of private industry does, to benchmark against other people in their industry to see where they stand on cost and performance and quality and those type of things. That's what I use this report for North Muskegon. And, there's some things that, again, we can probably pat ourselves on the back for, but there's a ton of opportunities for us to continue to get better. And that's really where we can save money. That's great, but I think that if we can be the best area in the state of Michigan, we don't necessarily have to be the cheapest, but if we can be the best, and that's the cooperation of the communities, that type of thing, that's what's really going to draw growth from the business sector. So everybody kind of hit on it. We've met ever since I've been mayor, we meet as a group with the mayors and managers, and it's a good thing, but this has really caused us to take a little bit of a different perspective on looking at it with a different set of eyes. So a lot of value is going to come out of this, I'm positive. And again, the level of cooperation, didn't work with Fruitport that much, or I didn't, prior to this task being done. So having Brian join in and do this has been a great deal. So, thank you.
official comments, I do, again, just sitting here listening to everyone, I have to say again that this is a great group of leaders. I am very fortunate. I have met with hundreds of leaders in my career. And so I know good leaders when I see them. And it's just been awesome to work with you guys. I mean, I think the minute we got this group together, it was like, we knew something big was going to happen. We didn't know what was going to happen, but we knew something big was going to happen. And I think you can see now that they are taking a team approach to improving our community. And I think all of us who are in the room know that we live, work, and play in all of these communities. And that's what's important. So we want all of the communities to be successful. And then we will all be successful as residents of this area. So, okay, we're ready to open it up to some questions. Anybody have it? Yep. Dave?
Can you just describe the two areas that will be ongoing? Number one, that it was mentioned here, how often is this mayor's supervisors group going to meet? And then you also mentioned engaging the public with town halls.
Well, let me talk. Next Tuesday starts our first meeting with our mayors, and at that time we're going to be structuring how often we're going to meet and when and where. So that next week is strictly a time to structure that plan, that idea, and out of that we'll come up with a plan for how often we want to meet.
Town halls?
The mayor. This is a mayor's and mayor's and township supervisor group only.
Understand. But there was also mentioned up here,
Yeah, I think that,
engaging the public.
well, I mean, I think
how's
there's,
that going to be rolled
well,
out?
the final copy, obviously, we've just all got today. So there will be some digesting of that, but I think, Norton Shores will take this back, we'll review this, possibly at a work session with our council, and then we'll develop, from our point of view, how we want to move forward with those meetings. I also think, there would be, because we're united sitting up here, I think it would be beneficial to have whether it's through the chamber or something, but have a community forum on it and have all of us there together to do that.
And further answer that question, Dave, is our intention is, after we begin to get this structure done, is to invite Muskegon Township and Muskegon Heights, who, although they have not participated in the study as willingly as we'd like them to, we will be inviting the elected officials, Mayor Page and Supervisor Keefe, if they would like to join us in the meetings.
I know. Hold on, Harry. We're going to have media first because a couple of media people have to get out of here. So.
No, he just expressed
Okay.
what I wanted to say, that we got to get Muskegon Township and the Heights into the package.
Good, excellent point. I think it's been stated all along. We've tried to design this so that people can enter at any point in the way. When they feel it's time for them to come in, they are welcome to come in. This is a fluid document as well. I mean, even getting it to this final stage was difficult because things are changing every single day. They are working on this stuff already. They had already started some of this stuff. The minute we started the study, they started working on things. So it is a fluid document, and I think it'll be changing as we go. And thanks to computers, we can keep changing it easily. Any other questions?
And ultimately, too, it goes beyond that. I mean, we have more municipalities in this county than 7 of us, so it's open. It's not an exclusive club by any stretch. Some of the other communities, the smaller townships, the smaller villages, cities, are more than welcome, and their input is wanted. I mean, because if this is really going to be successful, and if this is going to be something that the residents of the county want, we need as much participation as possible.
Well, and I think, Gary, you've also mentioned that it has also made you look to the south, across county lines, and again, we're open to working with the municipalities over in Ottawa County as well, should that need be part of this. Questions? I want more questions, but I don't want to forget to have Janessa Smith stand up, and she's been the staff coordinator for the chamber on all of this. And she's put tons of time and energy, enthusiasm, and determination in this project to keep it going and try to keep it on time, which was difficult. But also, and Mark Notley, the person who did this study, of course, I'm sure he can answer questions, but he's not here intentionally because this study is ours now. It is ours to work on. It is not his study. And so he is trying to pass the torch off to our community so that they take ownership in the study. Anything else? Is that it? Yes, Mike.
Just a comment, and that is down the road as we become a better, greater community, as all of you expressed a desire to be, I think as we'll look back, we're going to have to make sure that we understand there's going to be wins for everyone, but there's also going to have to be some giving. And I think we have to know that, and I know all of you understand that, but our communities need to understand that too. So it's just not going to be, well, here's a whole series of wins that we have, and we don't want to participate in any of the giving side because it's not going to work if we do it that way. So it's going to have to be a give and a
You
take.
look at the bottom line, that's what we've all
Exactly.
said. It's a give and the take, but at the end of the day, the goal is that
Better,
everybody
greater
wins.
communities.
So
How do we make that happen?
We talked about that at the very beginning, actually, because if you pick fire as an example, if you just pick one item, there will be winners and losers. And that's what's nice about this is you can look at the whole package and go, here you go. This is how to get us better. But it gets real tough to get somebody to sign on with one item. So.
And that's where we need your help again. Because those of us that are elected officials can take it and want to do it, but without the support of the community as a whole, and sometimes coming from the elected officials, it doesn't sit nearly as well as it does from people that are just the residents and the business owners in the community having the conversations about the need for this.
You know what's interesting is when you say that and talk about winners and losers, and it makes me think about what's going on at the federal government with the budget right now. And you got this side and you've got this side. You don't have a side up here at all, which is pretty nice. Everybody's in it together, and we've got the same goal, which is pretty unique. So,
Harry, did you want to?
I just have one suggestion. I think you also ought to bring in the county, because the county can provide a lot of umbrella services. And so while it's disappointing the Heights and Muskegon Charter Township didn't participate, but Laketon Township could come in, and Fruitland and so on, so you can get even more. But I think the county ought to be invited to participate in this thing.
And I think you guys probably want to comment on that, but I will comment on it as well, because we have been in a constant communication with the county. They have actually been a part of this. They weren't a paid participant, but they are very, very interested in looking at creative, out-of-the-box ideas. I think in the beginning, we knew it had to be driven by the local municipalities, and I think that's why they knew they had to gel as a team first. And so I'm confident they're going to be part of the team.
If you look at the study itself, it does include some cost sharing and participation that the county is already providing, and it also has some roadmaps of county participation within this study as well.
And the other
The
thing
county
is,
needs to meet with you people too.
And they do.
the invitation for everybody, the door has always been open. It's whether or not you're willing to walk through that door.
Invite them.
no,
Harry, they've been invited.
Yeah.
They've been invited to the table, they've been invited as part of the conversation, but as Cindy indicated, if we invited the county first to come in and the county came in, a lot of the local governments would begin to think, just as you said in the paper about the city of Muskegon, that the county's trying to get a hold and take over. We've all had participating conversations with the county in regards to services up to this point in time that can help us. Inspection services is one that there's been discussion on. We will continue to have those conversations, and as this group that meets on Tuesday will be there, the chairman of the board, Mahoney, will be invited to be a participant in this also, because we certainly need the county to step up and take a leadership role in exactly what this is. So we'll provide them the opportunity to do it.
Anybody else? So we can probably need you guys all to sit down and read the 100-page study, like a lot of us already have. And we'll probably be reading it many, many times more. Larry?
I think I'm really pleased and impressed with the leadership of the mayors. I think they've done a great job. And I think the long-term ramifications are going to be huge. And I think the whole concept of prospecting for new businesses to come to this community, I think you bring in prospective companies and they see the mayors all working together and looking at the data and what we're doing to try to improve services and control costs. That's going to be pretty impressive. Not many communities can do that.
I think that's great. As you said, we don't really even understand the importance of this team may have in the future. If we can, again, do another project like the battery plant, and we can introduce a prospect to this team, and they actually see a team working together, I can tell you any place, other communities that they're looking at is not going to be able to do that. When they see that these guys really do know each other and they really do have relationships, it will be very powerful to businesses that are looking to invest here.
You guys have a particular assigned person that coordinates for these meetings? If you're having, like, starting at 2?
Yes, we do. It's the Mayor Roosevelt Park.
And that's one of the things on next Tuesday, that we're going to be developing that structure and figuring out where we want to go again and what we want to talk about. And again, using this plan,
We did talk about it, potentially a facilitator that would provide consistency because, Whitehall and Montague, we don't necessarily have to drive down to this area. We need to get to the other communities, but there needs to be consistency in leadership meeting to meeting versus just hosting.
But it will be the leaders.
Right.
We will not be assigning staff
No.
to attend these meetings. It will be the leaders of the community.
That was my secondary question. I appreciate you clarifying that.
And as far as administration, we are committed, the Chamber of Commerce is committed to supporting them in any way that they would like us to support them. Again, they're driving it. We are the support organization, and we will, I'm sure, talk about that in the future. What do they need? And we won't forget either. We will stay on top of it and be in checking with them as to what's going on and when is it time to pull in community or when is it time to pull in other players. We will, we'll definitely be following this road with them every step of the way. We understand it'll be a multiple-year process. We know we want to get a lot done before the next election cycle because we have an awesome team here. And so before some of the players may change, we want to get a lot of stuff done and a lot of experience in how it is done. Anything else? Okay, let's be done. Thanks, everybody.